Hi everyone, this is the dubious promise of digital medicine for HIM 5301. My name is Erin Fisher. Here's the link to the article by Terhune, Epstein, and Arnst. Go ahead and give it a read. Now, the intro to this article is basically talking about in 2009 the giant $787 billion federal economic stimulus. $19.6 billion of that was for healthcare IT, which $20 billion sounds like a lot of money, but compared to $787 billion, doesn't seem like a whole heck of a lot. Now, this article was written back in 2009, so at this time, only 1 in 50 hospitals had a comprehensive electronic record system. This was mostly because the high cost of it and these hospitals and organizations and facilities weren't sure if it was cost effective. There were a lot of tech companies that wanted to sell mass-produced software which required expensive customization for these places to get them to how they needed them to work. However, the customization makes data share difficult between facilities, which is the whole goal of using an electronic health record. At this point in time, there was little conclusive evidence that computerizing all of medicine would yield significant savings. There was a huge IT push for healthcare at this time. We had Allscripts, which is an EHR software, who the CEO was Mr. Glenn Toulmin. Now, Mr. Toulmin was actually friends with President Barack Obama. They began their friendship before he was even president. They worked out at the same gym. So Obama kind of helped him push his agenda, so to speak. Allscripts was giving physicians samples of software to try to get them on board with the IT end of things using the electronic health record. There was even the University of South Florida health system who is using ambassadors to hand out these software samples to their physicians to get them on board and get them to using this software. Now, Allscripts wasn't the only software, of course. We also had McKesson, who is also a huge software company trying to push their software and their EHR, and their sort of motto or mission statement was to build on existing technologies. And instead of getting a brand new system and brand new technology, brand new software, they said build on what you already have and update it. Now, the issue that we ran into was there was no centralized reporting system. So if a physician or an MD was having a problem with their software, there was no place to report it. So if other people were in the market for a software, there wasn't really a place to look to see who's having issues with what and where and why, which is also kind of an issue for data problems, or data collection, for these software companies. Now, in 2005, we had Geisinger Health Systems. They spent $35 million on an Epic software, which is also a huge EHR system, and they ran a pilot run for one of their facilities. There ended up being so many medication errors within the weeks of this pilot run taking place that Geisinger had to spend an additional $2 million in cleanup efforts over 18 months to fix the issues that they had had with using Epic. The biggest problem was physician software and the pharmacy software were not the same system, so things weren't mixing and matching. So the vendor using different vendors was not working, which is where they ran into problems. They had to phone in to the pharmacy to make sure they were getting the correct medications for their patients, which is very time consuming and not cost effective. Now, reading all of these examples from different facilities and organizations and the problems that they ran into, there were a lot of bugs and errors, but like I said, this was in 2009, almost 10 years ago. And if you think about it, in 2009, we were in the iPhone 3, where I think we can all remember how slow and not very, there was a lot of glitches. Now compared to today, we have an iPhone 10 where there's facial recognition. So if you compare and contrast from 2009 to today, it's absolutely drastic. So technology is advancing so quickly. And in the long run, after reading these examples, what the summary was basically for these examples was, over the long run, technology has helped decrease mortality rates and cut medication errors in half at some facilities. Now we just have to keep in mind we are still advancing every day. There's always going to be glitches and bugs, but in the long run, this is far more effective than a paper medical record, which we all know. And it's only going to get better, hopefully. It had a rough start back when this was written, but please leave me any questions or comments in the forum.